How's your day been?
So far, it's been really good. I had breakfast. I did a Zoom training this morning.
How'd that go?
With a client. It was actually really well. I actually learned a couple things from them, too. So
Isn't that something about training? You can train and you learn at the same time.
It was awesome.
Don't ever go into it thinking you know everything.
I agree.
Right?
One important thing I learned.
Yeah.
Zoom always comes out with updates, and everybody had a different version of Zoom. So some of the features were available on some, but people were like, I don't see that. It was because of different versions.
Boy, that's interesting. Why would they let you? You would think they would do a force update on some level before you even start the meeting.
No, they don't.
But they don't do that.
No.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
one of the major blog topics that just gets hammered of our blog, that's
Lots of traffic on this one.
Lots of traffic.
Yep.
Lots of interest is all about branding. So why is branding my company important, and what does that mean?
Well, I mean, to just even kind of talk about what it is, right?
Okay.
What is branding?
Okay.
I always go back to the big brands because people are familiar with those. You got Coca-Cola, you got Apple, you got McDonald's, you got Albertsons, if that's a big one.
Right.
The reason people brand and the reason that a brand is successful is because I think the first thing, well, let me step back just a couple notches there.
Okay.
Let me go back to what is branding.
Okay.
It is just like, pretend you're a cow for a second.
Cow, okay.
I'm a rancher. I want you to be a part of my to be a part of my farm.
Okay.
And I want you to, is there some way of
I don't want to get branded.
when another cowboy walks up and goes, whose cow was that?
Right.
And then you're like, oh, that's Circle K.
Right.
Kevin.
Double K.
Yeah.
Double K ranch.
Yes. So that's where branding comes from, right?
Gotcha.
So your business.
So you're
is
talking about
branded.
the little, the cowboys sticking the metal iron in the fire.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So they're branding their cattle.
That is literally where the term brand comes from, right?
Okay.
Because that was the old world way of saying, this is my ranch, these are my cows, this is my brand. If you walk up on my cow that's 20 miles from my ranch,
Please bring it back.
Well, first of all, get her back home, right? But it's recognizable. It's the same thing with a company.
Okay.
Oftentimes, and this is, I'm going to dip into marketing a little bit here because branding and marketing are really, like
Hand
that.
in hand. Okay.
The whole point of branding is to help you from a marketing perspective and to make you recognizable, right? So half of the battle, or I would say maybe 80% of the battle of marketing, is making people aware that you're even here, right?
Okay.
And so if you have a brand name, the actual name of your business, and you have a logo or some sort of a trademarked, brand, frankly. Let's take the Coke logo, for example. Everybody knows it, right? It's the cursive writing, Coca-Cola. It's been around since literally the beginning. It's red.
Right.
Excuse me. But if you Google Coca-Cola, you'll find that logo from the 20s. They haven't changed it at all for the most part. And there's a reason for that, because it's recognizable, just like Nike. Like you can see the swoosh. You probably never looked at that and go, what does that even mean? Or who is that?
Right.
You know it's Nike, right?
You don't even have to have the word Nike.
Doesn't have to have
it. You
it.
just see the
That's
swoosh.
when you know you've made it.
Right.
Just like Apple. They literally have that little apple with the bite taken out of it.
Right.
They don't have to ever put the word Apple.
Right.
In fact, they've removed that for the most part from everything. So the whole point of branding, now that we've established what branding is, the whole point of branding is to, in my mind, to gain trust.
Okay.
And it's kind of like a franchise. A McDonald's in Omaha, Nebraska is the same thing as a McDonald's in Boise, Idaho, right?
Right.
It's a brand. It's a feel. And franchises take the brand to a whole nother level. Their bathrooms are the same. Their wallpaper is the same. All that stuff, because it just gives you a trust that wow, this looks familiar.
Right.
Same thing with a brand name. You put your brand name on your coffee cups. Right? You put your brand name on your shirts.
Yep.
You put your brand name on your car. You put your brand name on your letterhead. You put your brand name on your building. After a while, somebody gets to know this is the place where I'm comfortable with.
Right.
Whether you're ordering T-shirts, whether you're getting IT support, whether
right. Well, an example of McDonald's, right? I mean, they're the same everywhere.
Exactly.
And you trust that an example of that is earlier this week was in a small town in New Mexico. We were doing a project, and there's not a lot of fast food or quick places to eat.
Right.
But okay, well, there's a McDonald's. You know what you're going to get.
Exactly.
So you trust that brand. So, without, exactly it's going to be this way, whether it's in Albuquerque or whether it's here. So,
yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I mean, and that's the whole point of a brand, really. I mean, first of all, I'm an art guy. So, a brand can make your business look better, right? You can have specific colors that you use. Mm-hmm. You can have specific shapes. You can have, some companies have specific sounds, like Harley. That's a brand.
Right. Yeah.
That's their brand, right? And so it brings you comfort. It brings you joy, frankly. It helps you to know there's nothing, I know you're not really an Apple connoisseur for the most part. There's nothing more enjoyable than unboxing an Apple product. That's their brand. Okay. It's a really cool process. It's a neat thing. It sounds trivial and stupid, but that's what it is, right? So let's say BMW, right?
BMW.
So it's a car.
Correct.
It's not. BMW could easily have the same quality of car, the same smell when you get in, the same leather smell, the same drivability with no logo at all. It could be just a governmental white vehicle. It'd be the same exact experience, literally. But the brand just adds that much more to it. It makes you feel comfortable. I'm driving a BMW. This is fun. This is cool. Or I'm driving an Audi or whatever. I'm wearing a Rolex, or I'm wearing a Gucci suit or whatever.
Right.
It just adds that little bit of flair to whatever you're doing.
Okay.
And that's kind of a brand name on a business. That's the important part. Whenever I'm coaching a small business of how to get started and how to get going, I always tell them it's really important that whoever's doing your branding stuff, whether it's us, we do that for people, or whether it's somebody else, make sure they use the same font, the same letterhead on all of your brochures. Make sure they use the same logo with the same color on all of your brochures. It just helps the process. It helps people to feel comfortable. If they get an email from you, it's the same logo, same lettering. Brochure, same thing. Your website, same lettering, same logo, same vibe, right? Yeah. Like us, we have cars,
it just doesn't
right?
look very professional, right? If you send a different letterhead with different logo sizes and this and that, it doesn't look professional.
It doesn't look professional. And being professional, what's the point of being professional? Is trust. Mm-hmm. It helps you. If you walk up to me and you're cussing and you're yelling at people and you're punching people, I'm like, this doesn't feel like a good relationship here.
Right.
If you're professional, if you walk up and you greet me in a professional way and you're nice and you're cordial, that's professional.
Right.
The same thing with with the logo. And the branding and the whole company image.
Yeah.
There's a lot to this. I'm trying to cover it as fast as I can. But
they can read more in the blog.
They can
as well.
Exactly.
So if you go to our blog.eitsnm.com, you can definitely search for the branding.
You can search for the branding stuff. We have lots of graphic design type blogs on there that kind of fit in with the branding stuff.
Right.
It's important. And if you guys want to know more about this stuff, subscribe, because we're going to have a lot more of these videos helping people with
like us below as well.
Stuff. Like us. Yeah.
Thank you, Mike.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
All right.
Kaboom!
Hey, my name is Kevin.